Allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Before we begin, as I have done many times in the past, I'll just go over the format of tonight's proceedings. We have actually three separate segments. We have the local law and hearing on telecommunications. Then we have our regular village business agenda. At the end, as is our custom, we have public comments. I'd like to remind everybody to please speak or ask questions under the appropriate resolutions, whether it's the public hearing or the village agenda. State your name and address. You may have to spell it out so our court stenographer can get that information. As a courtesy to all in attendance, please try to limit your comments so everybody who wants to have a turn can have a turn. And I ask that you please try to take one turn and come up and state what you'd like to state so that we can, again, let everybody be able to participate. Village clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Toporelli.
Here.
Trustee Thomas. Here. Trustee Grasso.
Here.
Trustee Wright.
Here.
Mayor Bear.
Here.
Okay, the purpose of this public hearing is to consider proposed local law C 2022A. Local law adopting chapter 100 of the Code of the Incorporated Village of Valley Stream entitled Wireless Telecommunications Facilities.
Move the resolution. Second. Well, first, any comments from the board on this public hearing? On the telecommunications and comments from the public on telecommunications?
Mayor, if I could just make an observation.
You need a mic.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hello, just so that everybody is aware, the telecommunications local law that's being discussed now is just basically to bring us into sync with a lot of the municipalities around us that have over the past 6 months to a year been adopting a local law of this type, okay? Thank you.
Any further comments from the board or the public? All right, resolution 185-22.
Secret resolution, lead agency local law 4 2022.
Move the resolution. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes.
Resolution 186-22, secret resolution on listed action, local law 4 2022.
Move resolution. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Yes. Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes.
Resolution 187-22, secret resolution negative declaration. Law 4 2022.
Move the resolution. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Yes. Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes.
Resolution 188-22, adopt local law 4 2022.
Second. Roll call.
Trustee Grasso. Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Yes. Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. Need a motion to close the public hearing? Second. Roll call.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. We're going to forego doing the pledge again and move right into the calendar for the regular Board of Trustees meeting. Roll call.
1 second, Mayor.
Sure.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yeah.
Trustee Thomas. Here. Trustee Grasso.
Yeah.
Trustee Wright.
Here.
Mayor Fair.
Yeah.
Resolution 189-22 minutes.
Move the resolution. Second. Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 190-22 tax cert settlements.
Move the resolution. Second. Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toporelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 191-22, proposal for Lord D 2022, a resolution setting a date for a public hearing to consider the adoption of a local law amending chapter 19 of the code of the Incorporated Village of Valley Stream entitled zoning, in order to modify or clarify procedural requirements, eliminate duplicate and conflicting provisions, update certain outdated and obsolete provisions, reduce the need to obtain certain common minor variances, and establish permitting requirements for religious and educational uses in all zoning districts.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 192-22, proposed local law E 2022, a resolution setting a date for a public hearing to consider the adoption of a local law to amend chapter 2 of the code of the Incorporated Village of Valley Stream entitled Administration and Enforcement of New York State Fire Prevention and Building Code.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 193-22, license and indemnification agreement, Liberty Utilities, formerly New York Water.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yeah.
Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 194-22, official intent reimbursement of certain costs and proceeds for tax exempt bonds.
Resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 195-22, bid award.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Again, remember, I don't know if you're here at the beginning, make sure you state your name and address.
Yeah.
And please limit your comments.
Yeah, Mohammed Valley, 349 Mill Road, Street. So my question for the bid award, so it's a firefighter training and tactical rescue unit, right? By any chance is part of the training going to involve something with lithium ion batteries, because those are the.
We've already had that training, yes.
Okay, all right, and is there any informational things that you're gonna implement for the public, the general public, so we can reduce the number of fires?
We do that all the time. We have a very active fire prevention program. Very active.
All right.
Further comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 196-22, official intent reimbursement of certain costs from proceeds of tax exempt bonds.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 197-22, accept architectural and engineering search fees, multi-use path to Long Island River at Edward K. O. Memorial.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
Mohammed Valley, 349 Mill Road, about the multi. Is the path going to just be a path, or is it gonna be, is there gonna be bench? There are obviously gonna be bench areas, right? For sitting and probably garbage as well, because there's a lot of garbage that gets thrown in that park. So I just wanted that problem to be addressed, because everyone, I go there and people just dumping trash into the water, which has accumulated over the years, so. I just want to make sure that, hey, trash cans, both recycling and regular trash are available for, the garbage men to pick up, and that, at least there's some kind of nice seating areas,
That is anticipated.
Okay, thank you.
Further comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 198-22, agreement between the County of Nassau and the Incorporated Village of Valley Stream in relation to intermunicipal cooperation.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Zaffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yeah.
Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 199-32 approved change order number 1, resolution 110-22.
Move the resolution. Second. Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Zaffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yeah.
Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 200-2 approved contracts and lease agreements.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
Mohammed Dawud, 349 Mill Road. So I believe the last board meeting, there was a discussion about the archive social, I think. That was a social platform, and now you have the constant contact. So these are two different platforms, right?
Right.
So why is it that there's no, like, is there any platform that combines all these things into one, or is it separate?
It's pretty much an email.
Is it right there?
Yes.
Is it email?
Us sending email to those residents who sign up.
Oh, okay, but wouldn't that be part of the, you know, an art, a social communication?
No.
So, I don't know.
Further comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Zaffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Resolution 201-22 payment of audited vouchers.
I hereby move that the abstract audited vouchers be paid as soon as same as approved by the majority. Move the resolution.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Yes. Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Ray.
Before I ask for the motion to close and go into public comment, the meetings are listed there for December work session and regular meeting, January 2023 work session and regular meeting. Need a motion to close?
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Zaffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Yes. Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Ray.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. We're going to be open for public comment, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Please wait to be pulled up to the microphone. Please try to limit your comments. Please try to take only one shot at the microphone, and we are now open for public comment. Good evening, name and address.
Good evening, Nicholas Nagara, 26 South Franklin Avenue. I'll try to make this quick. I'm standing here alongside many of our neighbors, friends, and family to talk about recent events between a resident and a leader of the village. Valley Stream is run by all of you, the United Community Party. The United Community Party considers itself, in your own words, Democrats, Republicans, and independents from the village of Valley Stream who work together in local government. You say that issues that matter the most to residents of Valley Stream are not partisan, and that the issues that we face are tailored to caring for the community, not a political ideology. Therefore, I must ask those who are present this evening if the comments of Trustee Grasso towards my friend Emil were appropriate. Were they tailored to caring for the community? Those comments, where Trustee Grasso said, quote, "I'm really beginning to believe what people have told me, that you're a spectrum kid." Where he said, "I guess I should just pity you." Where he said, "I should have known why you don't drive," special ed. Where he asked, "Do you wear a helmet? Did you attend special education classes in school?" Were those comments where he said, "Okay, kid, I'm gonna let you get back to your coloring books," in the interest of the community? I wish I could say those were the only despicable comments he's ever made. And since then, he's gone on to local social media groups to say that he's being defamed and lied about, that Emil is a very troubled young man who has tried to pull and blackmail him, that Emil has stalked and harassed him, and that he wouldn't stop unless he goes on a date with him. For those who don't know Emil, he's a young man who just recently moved to Valley Stream with his family, and in a short period of time, Emil has become one of the most active young men participating in our local government here in the village and on the west side of the island. This is a guy who has a genuine, earnest passion to be involved in politics and governance, to hold political leaders accountable to taxpaying residents. He earnestly and honestly communicates his desire to be a positive influence in our community. His contributions are beneficial and valuable to all of us. All things considered, our local officials and all of our community members should be pleased that we have someone so invested in the state of our neighborhood, its economy, its social fabric, and its safety. And it just so happens that he's diagnosed with Asperger's. I just cannot believe that after Trustee Grasso already made his comments regarding Emil's diagnosis, that he further suggested there's something sexual to Emil's intentions. Grasso said that he, quote, hounded me to send him pictures of myself, and that he wants to go on a date with me, quote, which are just disturbing statements to make, given that the publicly disseminated chat logs don't support that. At every point, Grasso has twisted easily verifiable information to make it seem like Emil is a stalker and harasser with sexual intentions. Again, Emil, who is a local activist with Asperger's. I want this point to be repeated and sealed in your minds. It's to show how absolutely absurd, dishonest, and disgusting Grasso's comments are. How he continued to act despite the facts of the situation. This is one of the most dishonest and malicious interactions I've ever had the displeasure of witnessing or having been a part of, and I've worked in the New York State Assembly for 4 years now. It's without a doubt that we're all here in support of Emil and his family, who are beyond insulted and offended by Grasso's callous, infantile, and ignorant comments to Emil. We're in awe of how a 50-year-old elected official can so easily insult and defame Emil because of his activism and diagnosis in the 21st century. Now, the onus of the next steps rests with all of you, the leaders of Valley Stream. Trustee Grasso has demonstrated plainly that he's not fit to hold public office. He's acted in a manner that's extraordinarily unbecoming of a representative of our community, let alone an elected official. Ultimately, I think reasonable people all agree that his actions are in no way indicative of anything a united community should stand for. Our demands as resident taxpayers of the village and as compassionate people who want accountability and transparency are this. Trustee Grasso needs to issue a public apology. He must immediately resign or be removed from his position as trustee. And the leadership of the village must make legislative changes to the village code of ethics to ensure that any employees of the village be held accountable for behavior like this. What makes responsible governance is material result in the face of irresponsible and damaging behavior. Any violation of an updated modern code of ethics that we move towards must be grounds for removal or termination effective immediately. We're humbly requesting the rest of the leaders of the village join our call. If leaders do not act to condemn Grasso's conduct towards a member of the community and join us in this call, it would be a searing indictment on the values of the leadership as a whole. This would be a message to the entirety of our community that if you try to be an active participant in our local government, you'll be disparaged and ridiculed with impunity. Mayor Fair said to News 12 that Grasso needs to apologize and be held accountable. Well, prove it. Prove you will do the right thing and take the proper steps to ensure the village will do its part to hold them accountable. To hold all of yourselves accountable. Because if not, that tells all of us that you're just full of it. I hope that you all find it in you to take these steps and make for a more responsible government. Thank you.
Further comments from the public?
Mohammed Valley, 349 Mill Road. So it's great. It's great points made by, is it Nick? Nick, right? Okay, yeah. So Nick made very valid points, and I hope the executive board really hones in on what he was trying to say. I am personally going to say that I came from last public meeting, and I mentioned some of the comments that Trustee Grasso has made towards members of our Muslim community. So he indirectly on Facebook mentioned very indirect comments making fun of Prophet Muhammad that Muslim people believe in. And I want you to know that Muslim people have a large majority or a large stake in Valley Stream. So it would also be nice and additional if you could say apologies for your comments, because even though you did not directly quote unquote say what you said about the Prophet Muhammad being, say, pedophile or violence, all the stuff you said, you know what you said, right? I have those comments, right? It would be nice to have an apology, right? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Further comments from the public? Good evening.
Good evening, Sophia Noguera, 17 Carbon Place. I stand before you all as a 17-year-old student attending Valley Stream South High School. Like those I stand alongside, are disturbed and disgusted by the appalling nature of Trustee Grasso's behavior. I was 8 years old when I first heard the word corruption. Now, I didn't know what it entailed, nor what the intricacies of all these corruption schemes entailed, but what I knew was that I was entranced by the turmoil that it provoked. My entrancement with politics has extended beyond what I saw on the television, and now I serve my peers as senior class president. Last year, I conducted a year-long presentation on the impact of consumption of media by teenagers on polarization in the political landscape as well. Now I'm applying to college with the same dream 8-year-old me had, continuing service to others on a greater scale. As a member of Congress representing the interests of my people whom I have promised to serve and honor. Now, Trustee Grasso, when you were sworn into office, you promised the same exact things that I dream of. It is an honor to be elected by people of your community, and you have managed to completely disrespect the role of trustee through your bigoted comments to Emil and the continuous doubling down. To aspiring leaders like myself and others in Valley Stream, your conduct has been a prime example of how not to treat your constituents, and on a more basic scale, how not to treat others. What message does it send if a leader that I am supposed to admire and follow in the footsteps of referred to a constituent as a spectrum kid who you'd let get back to his coloring books? In the political climate of today, it is quite easy to be repelled by the actions of our federal government and the growing polarization between our parties. Local government should be a glimpse of hope despite the animosity. Yet, Trustee Grasso, you have proved that unfortunately, we cannot always rely on local politics to fulfill that role. To say that you have let down the 8-year-old version of myself and diminished my faith in the role of local government would be a gross understatement. In fact, you have made me ashamed of being a member of this community. And however, instead of allowing you to define Valley Stream, I urge you, Trustee Grasso, and fellow members of the board to take the necessary steps to replenish the village of its integrity and respect. This strictly includes issuing a public apology directly to Emil Varani and his family and a humble resignation from office. You stated that under the News 12 Long Island Facebook post that covered Emil's story, that you are tired of being defamed by a cabal of obsessed people, but that you expect this from them. Instead of recognizing your tremendous faults and realizing the impact of your disgusting behavior, you continuously shift the blame onto those trying to hold you accountable. I am proud to be a part of the them and the cabal of the obsessed people you so gracefully reference, if that means being able to remove severely inadequate, bigoted, and outright sickening individual from office that holds tremendous power in our community, because that is what real leaders do. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Don Fraser, of 171 Harper.
Can I speak?
Fraser, Fraser. I lived in Valley Stream with my family since we moved from Israel about 19 years ago. And I'm going to keep this a bit short. So far, I vehemently support the sentiments made by my colleagues before me. And I've been working with developing disabled adults for the past 7 years, and it's a passion of mine. And the dehumanizing manner in which Trustee Grasso has addressed Emil and his family, and frankly, all of us, is beyond reproach. But the most revealing aspect of your behavior is how callously you double down and assert yourself the victim at the end of this. You have said in your response to News 12, this is a story about the very dark side of social media. And you're right, it is. This is the story that people on the autism spectrum suffer day in and day out, being insulted and treated as inferior because of the diagnosis. This isn't the exception, Grasso, you are the rule. If Mr. Grasso, an elected representative, cannot recognize his behavior as abhorrent or just take responsibility for it with an immediate apology after the fact, how can he recognize his own faults as an official? How can he hold himself accountable when nobody is looking? Because clearly he cannot, even when everybody is. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment from the public? Good evening.
Good evening, how you doing? Marty Zapolo. Formerly of Valley Street. I have a question, Mr. Grasso. Do you work at the Atlantic Beach Bridge, yes or no?
Has nothing to do with the Incorporated Village of Valley Street.
Okay. That's fine. Michael Hopkins, how you doing? All right. If someone is possibly sick. Okay, like myself, I wind up with psoriatic arthritis. Emil, we're born this way. We just don't know what we're going to have or not have. And we have to deal with it. So I asked the board to please stop spreading rumors and trying to take advantage of someone's sickness. It happened to me when I was working at Valley Stream, and now Emil. It's just not right. We just don't know what we're going to have or what we're going to experience on a day-to-day basis. That's being human. Thank you.
Further comments from the public? Good evening.
Good evening. Anthony Benelli, 160 Albemarle Valley Stream. Mr. Grasso, you keep on consistently saying it has something to do with Valley Stream. If the public is being told one thing and they're hearing another thing from you, the public demands to know the truth. So it's related to Valley Stream. When someone asks, are you still employed with the Atlantic Bridge Authority? It's relevant. We want to know if our elected officials are being honest. So are you still employed with the Bridge?
Mr. Grasso has not been saying that. I've been saying we only take comments based on the Incorporated Village of Valley Stream, and that stands.
Well, so Mr. Grasso is a publicly elected official, and we've been notified by legislators who are also elected by the public, and they're saying that he has been let go. He's on terminal leave, but he's actually presenting tonight, and he's done it before, that he's currently employed.
Has nothing to do with his duties as a trustee in the Incorporated Village of Valley Street.
I'll try to make it clearer. If we find that one of our public officials are lying to the public day in and day out, the public has a right to know. We have a right to know whether or not Mr. Grasso, our trustee, is lying.
You can word it however you want.
I call on Mr. Grasso to resign tonight. Last month, I brought to your attention, Mr. Mayor, and the other trustees, that he made vulgar comments about the Uvalde school killing that included the killing of two teachers. And you yourself, as being a teacher, I would think you'd be more sensitive. But your response to me repeating what Mr. Grasso said online, your response was that you treat all Facebook as rumor. I brought to your attention that the criminal courts have recognized conversations on Facebook as being valid. Recently on News 12, you said that Mr. Grasso's comments need to be, he should be held accountable for his comments. So tonight, do you feel that Mr. Grasso to be accountable needs to resign?
I made a statement and I stand by it.
So am I, does that include resignation?
That's not in my statement.
Right. Another thing, last month, we brought up the whole idea of Moody's rating us for the past 4 years as junk bond. I was in contact with Moody's the very next day, and they confirmed they actually evaluated us in August of 22nd of 2022, a few months ago, that we still sit at BA1, which is non-investable, essentially junk bond. Do you now recognize that?
I'm unaware of it.
Is Mr. Matromino here? Mr. Marino? Yes, here he is.
Yeah, John, that's all right, John. Sit down.
Was just inquiring whether or not he had checked his records. But finally, I would like to say that Mr. Grasso, in his own attempted defense, to claim after the News 12 reporting that he's a victim of stalking. I mean, all the women, and there are men that are stalked, actually claim that as a defense. It's so abhorrent, it's so disgusting and indefensible. I mean, have you no sense of decency that you would actually make such a remark? I mean, seriously, you think you were being stalked by a 21-year-old resident of Valley Stream? You could have presented all the facts, you could have presented all the comments that you pleased on Facebook, but you never did. You never presented it in News 12. It's just your words against Emil, someone who's half your age. Mr. Grasso, I call it upon yourself to recognize that you should resign immediately.
Appreciate your comments, Mr. Pinelli. Take a seat.
Thank you.
Further comments from the public? Is there anybody on Zoom, Anthony?
No, there have not been any comments on Zoom.
Last try.
About it, going down the road. So I do want to double down on the bill situation. So this is a serious issue. And I told you the issue I had as well too, as a community. These are voters of Valley Stream, right? What you, Mayor Barry, and the executive board do as a result of this, whether you stand on doing nothing with Trustee Grasso, it's going to send a message to all the voters out there. Okay, so I want you to take that into consideration. The other thing I'm going to say is that respecting to the junk bond status, right? What measures are going to be taken to get us back up to speed? Because we're still at the same below junk, near junk grade when we had 2 years of reduced operational costs and a booming housing market. So going forward, the interest rates will go up, and the market's only. We don't know what's going to happen. So what strategies do you plan to?
We've already got the strategies in place.
Okay. All right. So, and lastly, I want to say that there was questions about the employment status of Trustee Grasso. I think that is tied to the incorporated village evaluation because the taxpayers should know whether that's going to affect his ability to do his job as trustee. So,
Thank you for your comments. Further comments from the public?
There is one person on Zoom. I'm not sure if they want me to unmute them or if they're typing their comment. But Gina Rossitano does have something to say. I'm just kind of waiting to see if.
Can you ask her?
Well, yeah, I said we can unmute you or type it.
Type it.
I'm not sure what she's doing. I gave her the choice. I'm just waiting for her response.
Can you
Try to unmute.
why don't you unmute?
Yeah, I just sent her the unmute request to see if she wants to do that.
Yeah.
No, she just said Gina Rossitano 97 Let's Drive. Gina, I'm sending you the request to unmute. You have to accept that request and then you can speak.
Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, we can hear you now.
It's actually Jenna Rossitano. I'm sorry, I have a bit of laryngitis, so I started to type this. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Jenna, thank you.
Okay, the situation is actually really, really awful, and I hope that it could be de-escalated. People come to village meetings because they want positive change, I think most of us do. And I think, and I hope all of you are in your positions because you wanted to make positive change as well, right? So we all want the same thing. Sometimes it gets lost in translation how to go about that. I think, I've seen it from both sides, people attacking each other, name calling, and it's actually baffling to me. I've been the subject of it from people that I've never met or interacted with. And it's terrifying and it should stop. And we need to find some common ground, but as a board, you have to meet us halfway. There can't be a twisting of words when someone asks a question. There can't be eye rolling when someone who's deemed like a pain in the neck to the village approaches the microphone. We're all the village, we're all neighbors, we're all community. And until we learn how to communicate with each other, we're in really big trouble. It comes from both sides. But as officials, it's your duty to take the high road, always. You're the faces and you're the voices of our town, and you speak for your constituents regularly. And it's something that should be taken very seriously. And also, I have to say this as the mother of someone who is autistic and has special needs, it is baffling to me that somebody would say that to a young man who is trying to be involved in his community.
Thank you, Jen. As always, I appreciate your input. Further comments from the public?
There is one more person on Zoom, so let me ask to unmute them. Let's see, hold on, which one are they?
She's right next to
Yeah, Nadia. Nadia, I'm sending you an unmute request. So I'll try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
My name is Nadia Holubnichi, and I'm a resident of Floral Park. Last week, I was made aware of appalling online remarks made by Trustee Grasso of Valley Stream towards a resident with a disability. The ongoing situation between them at village meetings and on social media is troubling, no doubt. However, on social media, either party could have de-escalated the exchange with a simple click of a button to block a user. But instead, Trustee Grasso chose to goad the resident and resorted to offensive language. Ableism is the discrimination of and social prejudice against people with disabilities based on the belief that typical abilities are superior. Trustee Grasso's online bullying towards a resident fits this definition. An elected official should never denigrate others, in this instance, disabled people, no matter the circumstance. Trustee Grasso's remarks demonstrate that he's unfit for office. His prejudice against disabled people indicates that he's incapable of making decisions in the best interest of his disabled constituents. Therefore, I call upon Trustee Grasso to resign from his seat as trustee, or Mayor Fair remove Trustee Grasso from the board. If neither action is taken, then disabled residents will forever understand that they are considered second-class citizens in Valley Stream. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia. I appreciate your comment. Nothing else on Zoom? Further comments from the public?
Patrick Scanlon, 49 Rockaway Parkway. On behalf of the fire department, we would just want to thank you guys for everything you guys asked for us today. That training center is going to be monumental to our department, and it's going to be great for the residents about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Further comments from the public? One more bite, Mr. Benelli.
One more bite, but I hope to have a bushel in the future. The accounting for the commercial vehicles that we're getting monies from along Long Island Railroad between, was it Central South and what's it called? I can't remember. Terrace Place. Terrace Place, that's right. You're counting those spaces, accounting for them because they're numbered, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, my question is this. Saturday afternoon, trailer of vehicles were disembarked and parked parallel to cars that are already parked. In other words, they're taking space that are not numbered. So how are you accounting for those 23 vehicles?
The village clerk is aware of it and the company is being charged appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming. Get home safely.